This is a 2025 Ram 3500 Limited. And there's a lot to talk about with this truck because last year we had a high output and a standard output. And if you don't remember, the suspensions were different on those trucks. I borrowed this one from Larry H. Miller, Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram here in Sandy, Utah. Unfortunately, this truck is sold, but if you would like to see what's incoming, be sure to ask for Bryce. Let's go ahead and check out the window sticker so you guys can see options and features on this build. At the very top, it's a description. Base price is $77,950. That does not include the dual rear wheels, so just keep that in mind. This is a short listing of the standard equipment. Be sure to pause. Starting off the options is that diamond black pearl paint. You also have the cold weather group with a max tow package. So it does show that the automatic leveling rear air suspension's there. Chrome bumper package was $95. Limited level 1 is $44.95, and then the high output Cummins with that torque flight trans, which is an 8-speed for this year, is $12,595. Sunroof, auxiliary switches, 50-gallon fuel tank, dual rear wheels is $995. So with the transfer case, dual alternators, and destination at $1995, you have a total price of $103,180. Did you guys notice anything missing from that max trailering package? Let's talk about it for a second. For 2025, you can no longer get a 410 rear. Now, that's not a big deal for some truck buyers. For some people, if you don't ever plan on running 37s or 35s on your dually, it doesn't really matter. Now, for those who might want to run the bigger tires, that might be a bigger issue because this truck does have a 342, as you guys just saw on that window sticker. Now, I have the 10-speed GMC. I actually had a 3500 dually from Chevy that I ran 37s on with the 342. I didn't notice a difference because the 10-speed. Now, the 8-speed does have deeper gears compared to the Eisen, and it does have deeper gears compared to the 10-speed from Chevy, although final drive is about the same. So we'll have to wait and see. I guess if I ever find someone who has this truck with the 37s and 342, I'll have to see if they'll let me take it for a spin because it could make a difference. But nevertheless, you're going to get better fuel economy. I did a comparison with the old Cummins and Eisen transmission, and because you do have a 342 rear, that is going to help a ton going down the road just cruising. So on the front end, you guys can see new grille design, new headlight design, but apart from that, everything else is pretty much a carryover, including that hood too. Now, here are these quad beam headlights. Your high and low beams come out of these projectors. These top projectors here are just for reflecting, so they don't act as anything other than reflection. So you can kind of see you have 3 beams at the top, 3 beams at the bottom on both sides. Black housing, and they still have these great fog lights. These are reflective style, and they put a lot of light out on the side. Chrome bumpers, as you saw, is an option for this year, and I'm glad that they do that because some people don't want painted bumpers because over time they do look like trash. Black recovery hooks, I think they changed that last year. They used to have chrome ones and then they just got cheap and said we're just gonna give them black ones. Parking sensors, and I like how this one kind of goes off to the side here. There is a camera front and center. They do give you active grille shutters. Radar cruise control is right there, and no one is shocked, but they're still using a solid front axle. Can't ever see them going away from that, but never know. You never know. They do provide a liner inside of here, and then here are the tires. They are still rolling with the Nexans. This is a LT 235/80/17, and in case you care to see the capacity for the tire, it is right here. 3,085 pounds per tire at 80 psi for single, and if you're planning on running it as a dual like this truck, 2,835 pounds, 80 psi max code. You guys see those turn signals, and they do have these lights for stationary use. There's your Cummins badge, it's a carryover, all your badging down below, carryover. And here's a nice side view. This is a beautiful truck. I do like the way dually trucks look, for sure. Now Ram is not my favorite, but it still looks good. Painted door handles, you have smart key system on the front doors, and notice your power deployable running boards do not have any chrome on them. I like what Ram does. They're very thin too. They have the best design for sure. A little bit of chrome below the window. This is the only dually you can get a night edition in too. Blind spot, top and bottom mirrors are heated and power. There is a light for backing up at night. More cameras, and they do give you some puddle lights below those mirrors. There's that dually bed too. 32-gallon fuel tank does come standard, and for this year they did upgrade your DEF tank. So I believe it's, I keep forgetting to look, I believe it's 7.5 gallons. If I'm wrong, I'll be sure to put it correct in this video if that is wrong, but it's over 7 gallons. So they actually have the biggest DEF tank, which is not a, I don't think this is an advantage because it's more weight on the truck, obviously, right? They get to lug along. And they do give it a better skid place for the DEF tank. There's that 50-gallon fuel tank right there. They do provide a skid plate for the transfer case down there. Yeah. They did do some upgrades with the emissions on this truck too. I think they added an injector for that. What was it, the DPF? Or the, yeah, for the DPF, I believe. Now, unfortunately, this truck does have the air suspension, so I can't tell you which suspension they chose to continue on with if you don't get the air suspension. So be sure to subscribe to the channel so we can do a follow-up on that. But you have the 4 leafs in that main pack there. So they do take away the overloads because of the air suspension. They do provide kind of a liner. There's not a piece in the middle there. I think you can get that from the factory though. Or at least as an accessory. There's that air suspension, 342 rear, and then there's that spare tire. It's the black steely. And look how they integrate that hitch into the framing of the trunk. Now you guys see this sensor here? This sensor does help you with the dually bed. So if you are backing up, that will warn you if you get into close contact on the side of the dually bed. They're the only truck that does that, by the way. There's your step. And let's go ahead and drop the tailgate. They still don't have a power tailgate, just saying. Now they give you the bed lights and a button here. And it does turn on the lights above the cab on the side there. You can see your tie downs right there and there. And they have those all throughout the bed. 7-pin plug right there, 12-way plug for camera, and I'm glad they still give you this. If you don't get the Pro Power on the Fords, they don't give you power, which is silly. 5th wheel prep package. That does come a part of the max trailering, max tow. 2 cameras above, one for bed view, one for the rear view. Power sliding glass, defrost, obviously on this top trim truck. I do like the big ram spelt out too. I'm gonna admit it. It looks so tough on this one. Class 5 hitch. They give you another 7 and 12-way plug. LED lights come standard on Ram trucks, and then this is for your rear view camera. Camera right there. Lights for hooking up at night. And full LED tail lights. And then here's a nice side view. Look at the girth. Man, that is a beast. Now, most of you guys know that the Cummins does have more horsepower for 2025, and that's pretty insane because they didn't up the boost, they didn't get a bigger turbocharger, they actually made this engine breathe better. That's what they did. That's it. Now, if you come back over to this side here, this is a new intake manifold. Ram dubs this a performance intake manifold. And you guys know Josh from Truck Stuff. He's a master tech. He said the aftermarket is going to have a field day with this truck. He said that there is so much potential with this new Cummins, it's not even funny. So we'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. Now, something else to consider, they are using larger intake and exhaust valves with this engine, and that's going to obviously increase port flow. So again, those two upgrades probably are why this engine has more horsepower. Now I know what you guys are thinking. It's only a 10 horsepower increase. Big deal. Yes, it is. It's only 10 horsepower, but it's 430 horsepower and 1,075 pound-feet of torque. Now the Ford guys are going to be like, big deal. We have 500 horsepower, 1,200 pound-feet of torque, so suck it, Ram. And even GM can, you know, throw a little shade over here because they got 470 horsepower. So they're actually beating out this Ram truck too. But you have to understand something. I think Ram is playing this the right way. See, they got the 8-speed transmission behind this Cummins, and that 8-speed is going to be doing all the work. If you didn't watch my last video, I did a comparison with the old and new Cummins, and that 8-speed is a game changer. You don't need more horsepower and torque to do more of the heavy lifting. You just need a better transmission, and the extra gears definitely help with that too. You have deeper gears. It's like a 489 on the first gear. I mean, final drive is still pretty much the same. I think it's like a 0.64 compared to 0.63 from the Eisen transmission. So not a huge change there, but again, the steps are closer. So when you're going up a steep grade, towing a trailer, boom, this engine's going to get it for you. And that's what I love about this platform. I think that Ram played it safe because the upcoming Ram is probably going to have the big horsepower, big torque once they find out that this engine is up for the challenge. Serviceability is better, so you have your oil canister style filter there. They also gave you dual fuel filters under the hood. I like that better because the one that was underneath the truck, I did, I think, 3 changes on my last one, and my goodness, man, it is messy. So the one inside the engine bay was not as messy, but the good news is, you guys see, now they're both there, so it should be a better, cleaner change if you do it on your own. Let's go ahead and check out the interior. Most of you guys know Ram has a tungsten trim for the half tons. That trim level did not make its way into the HD segment, so limited is still the highest trim level. Now I'm going to pick on Ram because I have to. I just can't not talk about this. These seats are disgrace. I'm just going to be honest here. I know that the half tons have it in a limited, but you know, they went backwards here. The cloth inserts, I don't feel this. I don't like that. I know that it's cost effective because, hey, you have less leather. And this is real leather too, by the way. This is real leather. But yes, they should have just given it full leather seats since they don't have the tungsten trim level. Just saying, you have tilt headrests. I still think that Ram has the best interior. I think that this interior is just the best. Now on the door, that wood trim piece is new. Also, these buttons have been updated for this model year. But you guys see right here, this always bothered me with my 2019, and they still do that because this is a cab from 2009. So you can see a lot of that around this interior. So that always bothered me because if you go look at the half tons, it's just a game changer. And they need to give us a new cab. But we won't talk about that in this video. We'll talk about it in another video. Let's check out the interior for the passenger side. Love that black chrome too around this interior. Limited badge. All this is wrapped in leather too. Both sides have the 10-way seat with lumbar. No massage function. The other two do offer that right now, except for Chevy. Chevy don't offer it. Grab handle finished in leather. Leather wrap dash. 14.5-inch display. 14.4, whatever you want to call it. Now you do have this passenger screen over here. More of that black chrome. You can put in an address for navigation on this side, which is nice. That's just good if you're going down the road, especially if you're towing a fifth wheel. I know some people are like, you don't need that on it. Everyone complains about stuff, you know, when Ram does it, but when Ford does it first, no one complains like, oh man, it was a great idea. But yeah, Ram was first to do this. This is amazing. When we were traveling full time in our RV, it was nice to be able to put in an address, obviously with the Apple CarPlay, but I prefer to use the navigation on the truck because sometimes you go into really remote areas in Montana and your phone don't work. So this is what you have to rely on. And it's nice to be able to keep driving down the road without having to pull over. Your wife can just put the address in, boom. So yes, this is an advantage for the truck. Regardless of what people say, it's just the truth. It's a really good advantage. Now you have your camera system here. So if you need help parking the truck, you know your wife like to help you anyway, so you can pretty much have her help you. And we have the doors on all the way closed. It won't show on there, so yeah. And it does show you the dually sides, all that good stuff too. And if you want, you can brighten up the screen like so. You can't see it from the side, however. You can hook up wireless headphones. There's just so much you can do. You can watch shows on this thing because there is an HDMI for the passenger screen right down there. Now, if you want to turn it off, boom. You can actually turn it on and off from the screen too. But yeah, here is that center console. It says limited right there. Here are the visors, no change there. Here's that sunroof. Also, the controls for that rear glass that slides, and your sunroof controls, place for your sunshades up here. Let's go ahead and check out the rear. I'm going to end this video soon because I'm going to be doing a lot more videos on these trucks, so yes, just stay tuned. You have these on both sides. And I do like that they give you these platforms here. There's your subwoofer, by the way. So if you do hot shot, you can sleep back here. And they do give you a light that shines down on the floor, which I like too. Armrests with cup holders. Outboard heated seats, 115 volts of power, 400 watts. Air vents, seat back pockets on both sides. Let's jump back over to the driver's seat. Dual chargers, by the way. Love the covers. You get, and they did take away the USB that was inside this area. Deep storage. This does slide too. They have the best center console. Oh yeah, by the way, another power plug. They give them to you front and rear. You have a 12 volt up there still. And your seat controls, steering wheel. They have 3 levels for everything. The shifter is electronic, so it's like totally different. Feels a lot better. Feels really upscale. This is a little bit bigger because of the larger screen. I do like that. However, this is nice too. A little bit bigger screen for these two. You have your backup, your bed view. By the way, you have this guy here, 4K camera, and the tow mode for that plug on the back of the bumper was for this. They have a ton of cameras on here. I mean, there's just so much. You can make this automatic too, which I like. You have more cameras. You can do vehicle, you can do trailer, auxiliary. You have 2, one in the bed, one in the bumper. Let's go to vehicle. So you have your auto dimming, dashboard. You have your towing pages, so you can add your trailers, and you have up to 4. And you guys see really quickly the tire pressure monitoring system for it, light check. They have your information down below. There's multiple pages here too. Exhaust brake. Man, they do a good job with this stuff. If you want to slide this over this way, you can. You can do full navigation screen. This is for your air suspension, tow haul mode, exhaust brake. They do add the trailer brake gain on the screen here. I'm not a huge fan of that, but it's not a big deal. And of course, they've always done this great. I've always praised Ram for their gauges. Like, they've done a great job. They actually added the fuel economy to this one too. I'm not gonna take too much time on this video. I want to do more today. So yes, let's go ahead and check out the Payload, because this is the biggest drawback to the new transmission. Front gross axle weight rating is going to be 6,000 pounds. The rear is 9,750 pounds. 14,000 pound gross vehicle weight rating, and 17x6 wide wheels. We'd love to see those be a little bit wider. Just saying. And then here it is. 4,917 pounds. You know, I always think I do a lot of videos on these trucks. I had to go back to 2022 to find a very similar truck as this one. That truck had a payload of 5,102 pounds, which I believe the difference is 185 pounds. I just did the math and I forgot already, but I think it's 185 pounds. If I'm wrong, you can do the math yourself. This new engine with the block and this transmission, although this transmission is not as heavy it's still heavy compared to the 68 RFE. So with that being said, you are going to take a hit on payload because they can't increase that GVWR for the dualies, right? So that's the issue with these trucks is, yes, 5,000 pounds of payload is pretty darn good, but I'd like to see 5,500 pounds. I've actually noticed too, some guys online have been showing their CAT scale stickers, and those who've been using those 20,000 pound toy haulers with these trucks have been exceeding that axle even on a dually. So yes, you really want to see what GM does. GM does like 10,000, what is it, 10,400 pounds or something crazy? Something crazy. But yeah, I think Ram is one of the best trucks still. They have a great platform here. They do need to go hard in the next 3 years. I think GM's going to probably be doing a redesign, probably 3 or 4 years. Ford's probably going to be doing a refresh soon. So yes, Ram's in a good spot with the new 8-speed. This truck performs really well. So if you haven't watched my last video, I did a drive video with another truck, so be sure to check it out. And yeah, be sure to check out Larry H. Miller's website to see what they got coming in. Ask for Bryce. See you guys soon.